You are enjoying the view of Norway's largest fjord, the Sognefjord, but constantly people are bumping into you. What if there was a more impressive view where you were completely alone? The good news is that there is just such a place, and it's right in plain sight of the famous Stegastein. And from the top, the Nærøyfjord looks even more impressive than it does from the boat 1 kilometers below. Have we got your attention? So keep watching to find out how to get there. The place is called Skomakarnipa, and it lies just above where the Nærøyfjord branches off from the Aurlandsfjord. The name is a bit unfortunate, as there are several better known places with different spellings of the name. Although it's only 15 kilometers in a straight line from Aurland, going there is quite an adventure, but one you'll never forget. Before we went there ourselves, we tried to find some information. ut.no had nothing. Only on a private website did we find the description written by someone almost 10 years ago, so this is a real hidden gem. So how do you get there? Well, first you have to get to Vangnes from Aurland or Flåm. There are two ways, either via Vikafjellet or via a double ferry crossing, first at Kaupanger and then at Balestrand, which takes at least 2 hours. From Vangnes, take the small road along the fjord to Fresvik, turn right in the middle of the village, and drive up the hill to a large car park at Skar. On Google Maps it is marked as Parkplatz in German. There is a grill hut and Norwegians have cabins there. It's still allowed to camp here. We haven't found any easily bookable accommodation nearby. By the way, it's really dark at night there, because there's hardly any light pollution. So the next morning it was time for the hike. We found a small information sign, the only official confirmation we could find that this hike actually exists. Now you can imagine how the trail looks. First, we have an unmarked trail, then a barely visible one, and towards the end no trail at all. So watch this video carefully if you want to go there. We spent a lot of time finding the trail, even though it was more or less straight. So the trail doesn't start at the car park, but a bit further up the road where there are some signs. At the beginning, the trail is clearly visible and goes through a forest. There are also a few cabins here. After about 2 kilometers, you will find a box with a registration book. The book was still barely half full after 2 years, so you can see that not many people passed through here. No one had signed in for the last 2 weeks, but the weather had been bad during that time. Shortly after the 2 huts, there is a small stream with a bridge. The trail continues on a gentle slope for the next 2 kilometers. As we had slept in the car, we had run out of water, so we filled the bottle at a more accessible stream. As there are no animals higher up, the water should be clean. If you want to do this, choose a stream that has enough water and flows fast enough. One way is 7 kilometers, so it's 14 kilometers total. The total ascent is 500 meters. Count around 5 hours hiking time, but plan for 6 to 7 hours total with breaks and watching the view. The hike can be done from June, when the snow has melted, to September or early October when the snow comes. About halfway of the hike, you reach a small mountain pass. There is a crossing with trails in different directions. Fysseholte is another viewpoint which requires less hiking, but you can use the direct path from the parking if you want to do that. Legdeneskar is another viewpoint further up the Nærøyfjord. As you see, the Skomakarnipa is missing. Due to that, we will now increase the description level to get there. The path is sparsely marked with cairns and not always clear. Right after the signs there are 2 ponds. You have to pass them both on the left side. Shortly before the first pond, the path branches off from the more visible path to Legdeneskar. If you pass the second pond on the right side, then go back and walk more to the left. After about 200 meters, you will go through a small bush forest. Afterwards, it will go down and you will need to cross a stream. Unfortunately, it was not clear when we went up, but on the way down we found the path. Right before the stream there is an invisible crossing. Take the path on the left side, which is hidden behind some bushes. Afterwards, the trail continues the same way. Every couple of 100 meters there is another stream to cross, but they are quite small and easy to step over. About 1 kilometer from the large stream, there is a place which is a bit steeper. Generally, there are no difficult passages on that hike. So, after a total of 6 kilometers, you finally reach a point where you can guess where the fjord is. This is also the point where the trails stop. You are now on your own to reach the edge of the cliff and watch the view. You have to remember where this point is to find the way back. Use a GPS device and our GPX track if you need help. While we flew the drone, the clouds dissolved and we had the best weather in a week. The safest viewpoint we found is on the northeast side. Cross the plateau until you see a small swamp with a rock behind it. Cross it, and you find a place where you can sit down and enjoy the view.
Flotch, 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 flotch. And
we later met people who had planned to camp here for the night. But feel free to look for a better viewpoint, but you are totally on your own. So be very careful when going close to the edge of the cliffs. We don't know how stable it is, and it is 1 kilometer down. Until now, there was quite a bad cell phone coverage, but here on the edge it's great. It didn't take long until the first sightseeing boat passed 1 kilometer below us. The other side of the fjord in the shadow is suitably called Mørkalandet, the dark land. Remember, you are standing in plain sight of several of Norway's most visited places, and you are completely alone here. Unless, of course, too many people watch this video and decide to come here. About 20 years ago, you were also alone on Toltunga and Kvalvika, as social media hadn't discovered these places, only the locals knew them. Is there really nobody on this hike? Not completely, but for the first 5 hours there was nobody. But then we spotted 2 women about 200 meters away, shortly before starting to get back. We spent some time tracing our steps back on the plateau, until we finally could find the path again. At several points we wandered off the path, because we were not paying the same attention as on the way up. Then we finally met someone. It was a woman from Balestrand who wanted to camp at the top, since she assumed this was the last summer weekend of the year. Then we met some more people who had the same idea, so a total of 10 people, but that was because it was a Saturday and very nice weather. As the hike is not that difficult, we will give the yellow medium label. If enough people start going there, signs and better marking will pop up. Don't expect a viewing balcony, as Skomakarnipa lies in a nature reserve, where new constructions are very limited. So that's it. If you like our hiking video, then watch the one on the top, and if you want to know more about Sognefjord, then watch the one at the bottom.